Okay, good morning everyone. So this week is Parshas Korach. I want to share with you something amazing on Parshas Korach from the Chida in the Sefer Chastei Avos, in the Chida's commentary to Pirkei Avos. There's a Mishnah in Avos that teaches us Kol machlokes shi l'shem shamayim sofer l'skayim. Any machlokes which is for the sake of heaven will endure. V'she'ein l'shem shamayim ein sofer l'skayim. If it's not for the sake of heaven, it won't endure. The Mishnah says, what's an example of machlokes which is l'shem shamayim? Ezehu machlokes shi l'shem shamayim. Zu machlokes Hillel and Shammai. Hillel and Shammai is an example of machlokes l'shem shamayim. V'she'ein l'shem shamayim. That's not for the sake of heaven. Zu machlokes Korach v'chaladasai. That's machlokes Korach and his Eda. So the Chida doesn't ask any questions, but I would ask a number of questions on this Mishnah. I think the Chida is going to be answering them. What's an example of a machlokes l'shem shamayim? How about every single machlokes in Shas and Mishnayos? That's a question. What's an example of machlokes l'shem shamayim? How about the 10,000 machlokes in the Mishnayos, the 100,000 machlokes in the Gemara, the 50 million machlokes in of Rishonim? I'm saying, what's the question? What's the machlokes l'shem shamayim? Torah, every Torah. That's a question. And then you want to know what's an example of machlokes she'ein l'shem shamayim? Every single fight in the world. Whenever there's a fight, it's Shalai L'Shem Shamayim, when it's not Torah. Like, what's the question of what's an example of L'Shem Shamayim, and what's the question of what's an example that's not L'Shem Shamayim? Now, if you want to say, well, what's the quintessential machlokes that's not L'Shem Shamayim, that's Korach v'Hadasai. Fine, that I get. But the quintessential machlokes L'Shem Shamayim is Hillel and Shammai, and other machlokes in the Gemara not L'Shem Shamayim. So the Chida says something out of this world. He says the question is, how do you have a machlokes that the exact same machlokes could be both l'shem shamayim and not l'shem shamayim? What do we mean? Says the Chida, the machlokes Hillel and Shammai and the machlokes Korach and Moshe was one machlokes. It's just that by Moshe and Korach it was shaloi l'shem shamayim, and by Hillel and Shammai that machlokes was Shaloi l'shem shamayim. What do we mean? There's a pasuk in the Chumash. It says, Acharei rabim lahatos. You follow the majority. So the question is it no matter what? Is it you always follow the majority, meaning you follow quantity and quality doesn't matter? Or what if the minority are smarter? What if the minority are sharper? In other words, the Torah says you follow the Rav. That's great. But do you follow, let's say you have 100 people, 99 of them are not that smart and one guy is brilliant. So you follow the majority? That's the machlokes Shammai and Hillel. Hillel said, we're the majority. So therefore, the halacha is like us. But we know the Gemara Nivama says, Beis Shammai charifim tvei, they were smarter. So Beis Shammai says, of course you follow the majority, but now when the minority is smarter. That exactly is the machlokes Korach against Moshe. Korach says, Rav lachem, you're just the majority, but that's it. But we're more intelligent, we're sharper. Korach said, we're 250 Roshei Sanhedrin, therefore the Chachma is with us. So the very machlokes Shammai and Hillel is the same machlokes Korach v'Hadasai. Beis Hillel said, you follow majority, you follow numbers, you look at quantity and not quality. Beis Shammai says you follow quality. Same thing with Korach against Moshe. Moshe said, we're the majority. Korach said, yeah, but we're the Rosh Sanhedrin. We're Charifi Tvei. So says the Mishnah, by Hillel and Shammai, it was a machlokes l'shem shamayim. So that machlokes endures. But by Korach against Moshe, it was shaloi l'shem shamayim. So that doesn't endure. So I have one simple question. Okay, that's the Chida. So according to this, I think this answers the question that we had, that what's the Mishnah asking, what's an example of a machlokes l'shem shamayim? What, there's a shortage of machlokes l'shem shamayim? And what's the Mishnah asking, what's an example of machlokes she'ein l'shem shamayim? There's a shortage of machlokes she'ein l'shem shamayim. The answer is the Mishnah is asking, give me an example of a one dispute that has an example where that very dispute was l'shem shamayim and that very dispute was shalai l'shem shamayim. It would come out though, according to Chida, we're lining up that Hillel would be going like Moshe, and Shammai would be going like Korach. Right? Hillel would be going like Moshe, and Shammai would be going like Korach. Right? Because Hillel held you follow the numbers, like Moshe Rabbeinu held we're the majority of Klal Yisrael, and Korach, Shammai says you follow the intelligence, and that was the time of Korach. Okay? So I'll point out a Chidush Nifla and a question. The Chidush Nifla is like this. Who do we paskin like, Shammai or Hillel? The Gemara Yevamah says we paskin like Hillel. However, the Sifrei Kabbalah say, and Rabbi Chanan Wasserman even brings this down, and the Malbim brings this down, that La'asad Lavai we're going to paskin like Shammai. So it comes out very good. Because the Sfarim also tell us that Korach was wrong then and that time. But La'asad Lavai, Korach will be right. Rabbi Tzadok HaKohen writes that in the future, Korach will be correct. Ki kol ha'eda kulam kedoshim u'madua tisnasu al kal Hashem. You're all, everybody's holy. We don't need a leader. That will be true in the La'asad Lavai, that kimal ha'aretz deya kamayim la'yam achasim. So it comes out that according to the Svarim that say that in the end Korach will be right. By the way, that's why the Gematria, the number of Psukim in Parshas Korach is Daniel. Daniel represents La'asad Lavai. Daniel is the one who knew the future. That's why the Gematria of the number of Psukim in Korach is Daniel, because La'asad Lavai, Korach, he had it right. So it comes out L'shitase that Korach was wrong nowadays. Why? Because nowadays we don't paskin like Shammai. Nowadays we don't follow the minority that has more chachma. But La'asad Lavai, where we're going to paskin like Shammai, so La'asad Lavai, Korach will be right. So that comes out amazing. Comes out amazing that the way the Chida sets up the machlokes Korach v'Adas against Moshe, that it's the same machlokes Hillel and Shammai. So we understand Korach was wrong. B'zman hazeh, La'asad Lavai, Korach will be right. But one little question, and that's based on what we learned yesterday in Pirkei Avos, that this only works if you say Hillel works with Moshe and Shammai works with Korach. Right? Does Hillel follow Moshe? Is Hillel connected to Moshe? The Chidushei Harim usually says that Shammai goes with Moshe. Shammai goes with Moshe, and the remez is Loi Ish Devarim Anoichi Seifei Tevais Shammai. Because Moshe Rabbeinu was a ruler, he Noigev Hadin Esahar. Moshe Rabbeinu was like, the Chidushei Harim says, the paragon of the ideology of Shammai, and Aaron HaKohen was Hillel. And the remez is, Hu Yeh Lecha Lepeh Rashi Tevais Hillel. So, but the way the Chida is setting it up is the Shita of Moshe goes with Hillel, not with Shammai, yeah? But it fits in very beautifully with what we learned yesterday in Pirkei Avos, that the Arizal revealed that the skull that Hillel saw floating in the water, it says, Af hura golgoilas achas. He also saw a skull. So we asked yesterday, what do you mean he also saw a skull? And who was the first guy who saw the skull? So the Arizal says in Shar Mamorei Chazal that Hillel was a nitzutz of Moshe Rabbeinu. And Moshe saw Paroi dead on the seashore. And Hillel also saw the skull, who was the Pharaoh. And Hillel said to Paroi, because you drowned Klal Yisrael, you will be drowned. You were drowned. And he then turns to all of our other enemies, and whoever harms us will be harmed. Whoever harms us, they will be harmed as well. So the Ari lines up Hillel with Moshe Rabbeinu, which is exactly parallel and consistent with the way the Chida learns this Mishnah, that the Shita of Moshe Rabbeinu of Achrei Rabbim Lahatos follows the opinion of Hillel. So I thought that was very interesting and an amazing connection to what we learned yesterday, connecting the skull that Hillel saw to Moshe Rabbeinu, who saw the downfall of Parai. Okay, that is offering number one.